Hello, I am Sophie. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the beginning of this year's winter writing retreat. This is Winter Retreat 2026 because it goes into January and we already had Winter Retreat 2025, so it only makes sense. Today is actually the second day of the retreat. Yesterday I was cramming for an exam that I had today. That exam is over. I think I did good. We'll see. Now that that is over, I have time today to actually start the retreat. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's also freezing in here, so I made matcha in this little mug that I think my aunt got me, that when it heats up, it shows all the constellations. Isn't that silly? Also, this mug looks comically large. Maybe I'm just tripping. Anyways, writing. I've already made a whole video about my goals, but to recap here, I want to finish Project Glass, draft 2/3. I might call it draft 3, just to be like, ooh, new draft. And also finish draft 4 of Project What, but that means finishing revision, finishing tweaks and rewrites and cuts, and then finishing the second half of the book, like drafting the second half of the book, because that's not done. I think I talked about this in the previous writing vlog about like the end of November, but one of my biggest goals with revising Project What was to find things that were superfluous, that did not really need to be said in the book anymore because it's getting really long. It's gonna be a really long book. And unfortunately, I have completed all of Act 1, so all that's left is the first half of Act 2, but in all of Act 1, I have not found a single significant thing to cut. I've cut maybe like a couple paragraphs, or maybe like a middle chunk of a scene, but nothing over 500 words at all. The entire act. Nothing. So that's scary. Rereading Project What, though, has shown me that this book is really solid now, though. At least Act 1, because that's what I've read. But I genuinely found myself, like, just enjoying reading it. Like, I wasn't really being super critical about the writing, which is typically what happens when I go into revision mode. It's like, everything is wrong, I'm gonna talk about all of it. But this time, I just found myself, like, flying through chapters, and then I'd, like, step back and I'm like, wait, I had no notes for like these last 3 chapters. Like, what is going on? So it's nice. That was comforting, knowing that even though the book is going to be huge, probably inching up to 200,000 words, which is insane, they might be 200,000 good words. They might be decent. So that's nice, but a little daunting at the same time, because the bigger the book, the more work it is to, you know, work through it. So we'll see. But maybe Act 2, there will be some stuff I can cut. I'm not entirely sure. And then with Project Glass, I am in the editing and rewriting stage. Actually, right before the retreat started, November 30th, at like 8 p.m. probably, I finished the major rewrites for Project Glass. As in big scenes that needed changes. There were a couple new scenes, like all the big drafting parts that I found in my revision, that's done. That is done in the book, and now I'm on to more of like the minor things, where it's really more of a heavy line edit, where it's like I need to really suggest certain things in these scenes, or I need to cut certain parts out. During my sprint to the end on November 30th, I figured out that I fixed the timeline around the climax of the book, though, which is nice. I think I've talked about that before on here, where the climax of this book takes place on Christmas Day. Or originally, in the original draft, it took place on Christmas Day. I ended up moving it to being like a couple days after Christmas, because Project What also took place on Christmas. I don't know. But Project What no longer takes place on Christmas because physically there's not enough things that happen to like stretch the timeline out to Christmas. Like the climax happens now like in the middle of summer. Like, I don't know. Don't hit me up. So I was like, let me move it back to Christmas Day. Let me have everything happen on this very, you know, big day for many people, not everyone obviously, but it's a good focal point to have, especially for, you know, tying the story down to a certain time. And I guess drafting me did not know that that's what I was doing. So when I was revising it, I was like, hey, why is this not taking place on Christmas Day? Why are we still saying it's a couple days after Christmas? And on top of that, I wasn't even straight on how many days after Christmas it was. Like, there were some that were like, oh, it's 2 days after Christmas. And then some scenes were like, oh no, it's 3. And that could not happen. You can't be 3 days after Christmas before it's been 2 days after Christmas. You know what I mean? That threw me for a loop. But I think naturally in how I was writing, or how I had rearranged the scenes and the rewrites that I have done so far, I think I fixed it. Before I like finally say like the end on this draft, I will be doing a full reread of it to do some final line editing, catch any typos, because there's a lot of typos in this book, and check and make sure like silly stuff like that is not, you know, slipping into the final draft. So I will make sure that I actually have fixed the timeline, at least around the climax, because that's when it's really set. But I think I fixed it, and that's a huge task off of my Project Glass to-do list, because I was like, how am I gonna fix this? But I think it just happened naturally. It worked itself out. But anyways, that was a very long intro. I'm really good at making really long intros. Also, it's dark because it's 8 p.m. I spent earlier today finishing my reread of Neuromancer. I read it for the first, also it's sun damaged. It sat near my bedroom window a little too long, I think, but yeah, I got sun damaged. I love that. Anyways, I read this for the first time in high school, maybe freshman or sophomore year, somewhere around that. Did not understand one bit of it. If you asked me what happened in this book a month ago, because I started this book maybe 2 weeks ago, I could, like, gun to my head, I could not tell you what happened. But I really wanted to read it, especially because this was like the major inspiration for Cyberpunk, like the video game, or the game franchise, and I love Cyberpunk. So I was like, I need to appreciate the original that inspired it. So I got the audiobook from Libby, and I was listening to that while I actually like read it, and that worked so much better. I genuinely didn't even know the characters were on the moon for half the book. Like, literally halfway through the book, they travel to a city on the moon, and I had no idea. When I say I don't remember anything from when I read this in high school, I didn't remember a single thing. So audiobook did wonders, but now that this is done, well, I had started it earlier, but I can now prioritize this absolute behemoth, The Way of Kings. I have been itching to start this trilogy ever since I finished the Mistborn trilogy. It's just been staring at me. I have the book set. I have all 3 books. They're just sitting there, thick as bricks, and I was like, I just need to dive in. I just need to do it. So in the hopes of actually finishing this in a timely manner, because this would probably take me a year to read if I was left to my own devices, I also have the audiobook for this. This is a writing vlog, not a reading vlog. This is what I'm reading right now, along with like 3 other books, but not the priority here. Let's get to writing. I actually don't know if I want to work on Project What or Project Glass. Not really sure what the vibe is right now. I might just like look over what I need to do in both projects, and see which one is more exciting. Yeah. Hello! It's been a few days since I've updated the vlog like this. It is the 8th. This vlog is gonna be very sporadic because I'm still in school. So until I'm done with school, which is on the 18th, I won't be doing too much writing, but I will try to get as much done as I can during this time. And that includes today. The responsibilities and the final exams have not fully hit yet. I'm gonna consider this my final day to just dedicate to writing and YouTube and everything that's not school related. I'm gonna try and make the most of it. I've done quite a bit already today. I have edited 2.5 videos and those are up on my channel. Those are being scheduled. Those are ready to go out. I wanted to edit as much as I could in order to have videos ready to go out while I'm in finals, so I don't have to worry about studying and also uploading videos. It's great. And I would also like to do some writing work. First, on my iPad here, I am handwriting Project Glass, as in I am on GoodNotes and I am handwriting digitally. So, looks like that. I found a scene in the book today while I was editing videos that needed a POV switch. So I have downloaded that chapter, or that scene, not the whole chapter, and I'm rereading it on here, putting my edits in, and then once I do have a game plan of the edits, I will be handwriting it on this, like I have up here. So I want to work on that. I also want to work on a little bit of Project What, because I haven't like even looked at Project What since the end of November. So I really want to work on this because the sooner I finish rereading this, the sooner I can start rereading Project Star. I don't like rereading multiple things at once because then they get jumbled in my head, and I want these projects to be as distinct from one another as possible. I already think there are a lot of trends between my projects, and I don't want people to start thinking I'm writing the same book but just with different characters and in a different setting, you know? So I really want to reread this. I have finished Act 1, so I am on Act 2. I just haven't started Act 2, and that's about halfway through this portion of the draft right now. First, before I do any of that writing, I want to finish the video I am currently working on. It is another writing vlog. Very exciting. It is my writing vlog from right before the retreat started, so in the timeline of my videos, it's the one immediately before this one. Very fun. I do want to work on this. It is kind of a long video though, so I don't know if I'll be able to finish it before I'm actually sick and tired of editing because I have been editing all day. Let's see what happens. But I do want to write. I am gonna write tonight. I want to do a lot of that. More than anything, I want to get a significant chunk of Project Glass done. That's my big thing right now. I really want to finish Project Glass before Christmas. Ideally, I want it done by like the 15th, so I can have the next month and a half to work on Project What, or like really dedicate my time to Project What, not have Project Glass there as well. Also, reading update, still working on The Wave Kings. I am about 30% of the way through, which is about 400 pages. Yeah, so this is going great. Anyways, goals aside for the rest of today, it's 5:30, even though it's getting dark outside. I love winter. First order of business, finish this video. Second order of business, work on Project Glass as much as possible. Third order of business, even look at Project What. Okay, let's do this. Insanely bright. What do I do? Do I talk like this? Hello. This is a weird angle because if I sit back, that happens and I don't want that to happen. So we're gonna sit like this. Hi, it is December 17th. December's going by way too fast. It's actually gross. But today's gonna be the last day of the vlog because it's been over 2 weeks into the retreat, and I've been filming the same video. So we're gonna wrap it up today. Today was the day of my second to last final. My final, my last final is for my ASL class, so that'll be pretty straightforward. I don't need to study for that. So I have time today to write, to work on my projects for the first time in like 5 days. I'm excited. I'm stoked. So today will be the final day of the vlog. We're gonna see how much I can get done today. I'm not really setting a goal. I don't have anything specific I want to get done, but I do want to just write. I do want to write. I want to get something done. So I'm gonna work on Project Glass. I'm gonna work on Project What. I'm about to leave to go to a coffee shop. I'm gonna be there by myself for a little bit, and then in like an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half, one of my friends will be joining me there. So I'll have some time just to myself to write before, you know, catching up, chit-chatting happens, and then hopefully I can lock back in when she does get there. I'm going to take both my projects that I'm working on right now. I really want to work on Project Glass first because I am working on a POV switch in Project Glass right now, and a light rewrite because the way I wrote this scene was not very good in the first place. But I'm working on a POV switch right now, and that's been going very slow, mostly because of finals, and I would really like to finish that. I would like to sit down and actually finish writing the scene that I started like a week ago, and that I've just been picking at throughout the week. Otherwise, I would really like if the end of Project Glass, I think I'm gonna call it draft 3. I think we're gonna call it draft 3. But the end of Project Glass draft 3, like, we're done. It's like ready to be sent out to people so they can read it. I would love to have that done at the same time or around the same time as I finish the rereads for Project What. Then I can go straight into reworking for Project What, and then I can get into drafting for Project What because I need to do that. One thing though that's very nice right now is that there's basically no changes to Act 1. Act 1 in Project What doesn't need much. I think there might be some stuff towards the end of the act where it's like it gets a little time jumpy and it got a little weird, and I do need to fix some stuff there, but that's like just rewrites to just show like, hey, literal months have gone by in this single chapter. It's gonna be hard to show. I'll probably have to bring in the timeline a little bit so it's not such a wide span of time, but that's like the only thing I need to fix in Act 1 right now, and I haven't really dug into Act 2 yet, so I don't know what's happening there, but I'm hoping it's as simple or close to as simple as Act 1 was, rewrite-wise. There might be some scenes in there where it's like, I really don't need this, like, we're just gonna cut this, which is what I'm hoping for, which is what I want. I also might just need to, honestly, I don't know why I'm brainstorming right now. I need to read the book. I need to read the part of the book that I have, and then come up with a game plan. I don't know why I'm trying to come up with a game plan before I've read it. But anyways, enough yapping. I'm gonna pack up. It's gonna be so relieving to be able to go to this coffee shop and not have to think about math. I'm also going to bring a book to read because I have 3 books here. I am still working on The Way of Kings. I don't think it'll focus on that because of the sun. I am still working on that. There's my progress. I am a little over halfway. This book has been great so far. Oh, here comes the cat. Hello, Gigi. Will she be okay if I lean forward? She might not like it. Nope. Okay, go. But I am reading this with the audiobook, as you guys probably know. And my borrowing time on Libby has run out. You get 3 weeks to use an audiobook, and then it goes on to the next person, unless there's no one else waiting for it, and then you can renew it, obviously. But this book is in high demand, so I had to just re-put my hold on the book, and I've got about 2 or 3 weeks wait until I get this book back, and I don't want to read it without the audiobook because then they get out of sync, and I don't want to deal with that, okay? Frankly, I just don't want to deal with that. So I will be picking up this book that I've actually read most of already. I was reading it before I started this audiobook. I was reading it before I started Neuromancer, and this is the book I was taking to class. This is the one I was reading on like the light rail and stuff, because I didn't have the audiobook for this, because I don't think there's an audiobook for this. I could be wrong. But then when I started reading Neuromancer, and then I also had this one pop up on Libby and be like, hey, you need to read this in 3 weeks now, I tossed this one to the side because I was like, This one doesn't have a time limit. Obviously, I did not finish this book in time for the 3 weeks, but I got about 700 pages into the book, so not bad. But I would like to finish this. I would like to finish this before I go home for winter break, which is in a couple days. So I'd like to work on this as well. And then I brought this book here too, because this is the audiobook I will be listening to while I wait for this audiobook to come back. I love audiobooks. But anyways, tangent aside, this is the book I will be taking with me to the coffee shop, along with my writing projects and everything. Say hello to my cat. And we're gonna just get to work, see what happens. No pressure, because finals was pressure enough. We're just gonna be chill. We're gonna be normal. We're gonna be cool. Hello. Editing me. Currently laying in bed and filming this on my webcam. I'm filming this because I didn't film an outro for this video, of course. When do I ever? Just wanted to pop in to say that the last day of this vlog, the 17th, not very productive, but I'm not mad about it. I spent the first hour and a half alone in the coffee shop working on Project Glass, and I got a significant amount done with that project. I did actually end up finishing the scene I was working on, which was great. That was great. Loved that. But about the same time I finished working on that scene is when my friend showed up, and for the next 5 hours, we just hung out and talked. We got nothing done except for catching up with each other, which is not a bad thing, which I'm not mad about. It was a great 5 hours. But the objective of writing and getting a significant chunk of writing done was not achieved. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. By the time you see this, it is Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas. If you celebrate, happy holidays otherwise. Please let me know how pretty much the first month of the winter retreat has gone for you. I will have many more videos about the retreat as it goes on, but this was the first one, a bit of a mess because of finals and whatnot. Also, in 2 days is the first community event. We will be doing a 5K day all together on Saturday. So join in. It'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, let me know anything and everything in the comments. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.